Every age has its own outlook. It is specially good at seeing certain truths and specially liable to making certain mistakes. We all, therefore, need books that will correct the characteristic mistakes of our own period. C.S. Lewis. Conscience is the most sacred of all property. Other property depending in part on positive law, the exercise of that being a natural and unalienable right. James Madison. A confession is due at the outset. This is primarily a book about a man of unique faith, James Madison, written by a person of faith. This book is a tribute to conscience in its many forms, but particularly to religious conscience. It is also a biography of a man who did as much, if not more, than any other founder to capture the spirit of the Declaration of Independence and form a government of laws conceived in an undying commitment to liberty. Madison had a deep, albeit somewhat untraditional, faith in God. He complemented that faith in God with an abiding faith in the country he did so much to help found. In today's world, such values have lost some of their luster in some sectors of the population, particularly in academic circles. In all respects, however, Madison remains an example of the kind of leader and public servant that seemed to be raised up to fulfill his role in helping to secure a new nation, conceived in liberty. Madison believed rights were natural or gifts of God, and he was thoroughly committed to the goal of the founding generation to establish a nation conceived in liberty, the liberty to pursue happiness and human dignity, freed from a naturally overreaching and sometimes tyrannical government. Many who visited with Madison throughout his lifetime were struck by his reverence for the work that he was blessed to be a part of. Those visitors observed a certain religious quality to Madison's devotion to the American founding and its governing documents. As Madison's own words and deeds amply demonstrate, however, he firmly believed in divine providence. His faith was deeply personal, but he never affiliated with any sect and was generally reluctant to discuss his faith openly, except with very close friends. He abhorred the idea of using his faith as a tool to secure political support. Nevertheless, minority religionists and sects, particularly the Baptists, repeatedly provided the votes necessary to place Madison in critical public positions during a determinative time in the history of the United States of America. Madison was a man of quiet faith, a very spiritual man, who was also intellectually inspired in miraculous ways. As Madison's life and writing amply evidenced, the right of conscience was intended to be secured as the most sacred of all property, the preeminent natural right, the right placed furthest from the touch of any just government. It is also true that Madison feared control of the government by any religious sect. Indeed, he feared tyranny in any form. This is the Madison whom I have come to revere through years of study. It is the Madison I want to share with readers. In doing so, it is my sincere hope, even prayer, that learning more of the depth and breadth of the faith of the Father of the Constitution and Bill of Rights will deepen the reader's faith in the miracle and contemporary relevance of the Constitution, and will be a forceful reminder of the grave importance of protecting liberty, including the sacred right of religious conscience during a time of declining faith, a time of increasing assaults on the right of conscience from segments of the progressive left and the conservative right. There are even some scholars and lay people who claim that religious liberty is little more than a pernicious myth, a fraudulent means of obtaining an exemption from the majority's conception of the public good, and a pretext to discriminate against others. This book takes the life of the greatest American proponent of the right of religious conscience as a response to those who believe religious liberty is a lesser or antiquated right, or no right at all.